20 seconds and counting.
Hey, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. It's Anish, and I'm here joined with Roman and Drew. And today we're going to be addressing a pretty interesting question. How bad are the Texans really? And we're just looking at it from a roster standpoint, not necessarily scheme or coach per se, because Cully, he's still an unknown. So we don't know how that's going to play out. But I think the media has us for dead, right? They have us dead last. And I think you can say any power ranking, NBC Sports, ESPN, PFF, they have us dead last, and I guess you can say that's not a bad thing, meaning that we'll get like a #1 pick in the next year's draft. But I just wanted to know, like I try to be as unbiased as possible. Like, how bad are we really? And so I sat down and I worked with Drew and Roman about where our positional groups rank among the league. And let's start with the offense. So quarterback ranking. Obviously, it's one of the biggest question marks with the elephant in the room, Watson. So if he does play for us, I'd say our quarterback ranking is third in the league. I'd say he's right behind Mahomes and Rodgers. Either way, you can switch them. But I think he's arguably number 3 in the league. But without, I'd say our quarterback room would be 28th. I think Tyrod Taylor would be considered better than Drew Lock, Sam Darnold, Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones right now. And I guess you can do a toss-up with Tua. But what do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I 100% agree with y'all. With Deshaun Watson, our quarterback room is top 3. I would maybe even put him top 2 just due for the fact that Tyrod Taylor, he's a very good backup to have. The Chiefs' backup quarterback, I believe I'm not really too sure who it is, but I know for a fact that Tyrod Taylor is pretty much better than whoever their backup is. And having a backup at the level of Tyrod Taylor, that's very important for a football team. You never know when your star or starting quarterback's going to go down. And if you have a quarterback behind him who can go in and at least win you a couple games or at least keep you in games, that's very huge in the NFL. And then with Deshaun, as you were saying, any team would die to have Deshaun. I mean, other than maybe like the Seahawks or Chiefs or the Packers, it's just teams like that. But most teams would die to have a quarterback like Deshaun Watson. Just the different plays they can make all over the field, whether it's in the pocket, outside of the pocket, or even on the run, in rushing plays, or he can do it all. He can run pretty much any type of offense. He's just an insane level of quarterback to have. And yeah, I believe 3 or maybe even 2 is good for him. But going back, if Deshaun Watson, I mean, yeah, we have Davis Mills, we have Jeff Driscoll. Davis Mills, I do believe he could be something in the league, whether it be a average backup or maybe like a Andy Dalton caliber level of starting quarterback. Like not anywhere good, but I mean, they could somewhat get the job done, I guess. But yeah, without Deshaun Watson, I do believe 28th is a fair ranking. Tyrod Taylor, I do believe he's better than some NFL starting quarterbacks. Maybe like 4, 3, maybe. At best, maybe 6 quarterbacks that he's better than. But I mean, Tyrod, yeah, I believe we're a 28th ranked quarterback room with Tyrod himself.
All right, yeah, I think 28 is fair. And let's go to our weapons. Wide receiver ranking. I'd say we're 28th too. I'd say we have a better wide receiver group than the Ravens, the Lions, the Jets, and the Patriots, wide receiver wise. And Eagles, I'd say it's a toss-up, but they do have some. Obviously, they have Devontae Smith, who's a very talented receiver, and Jalen Reagor. So I think that's a toss-up. But what do y'all think about wide receiver wise?
Wide receiver wise, it's actually kind of interesting. We added so many different receivers and players this entire offseason, but receiver wise, we added quite a few different people. And so we drafted Nico Collins. We have Brandon Cooks, who had a 1,000-yard season last season. So those top 2 guys are pretty good, you would think, if Nico Collins can develop. We also have Chris Conley, who lots of people have talked about as the number 2 option next season. He's 6'3", pretty speedy, and is a really good deep threat, as we've seen in Jacksonville and with the Chiefs. We also have Randall Cobb, who is a very good slot receiver, a polished veteran, a guy who can just kind of make plays, do what he's asked to do. He's getting old, so maybe he might be moved soon. But I think we'll try to keep him on the roster for now. We also have Isaiah Cotler, Kiki Kuti, Alex Erickson, who's a special teamer from the Bengals and kind of a little slot guy. We got Damon Hazelton, undrafted rookie from Missouri, Dante Moncrief, Chris Moore, Andre Roberts, who's a very exciting special teamer. He recently played for the Bills, where he went to the Pro Bowl as a kick returner. And also, we signed Taywan Taylor, a talented guy who played for the Titans and Browns, but didn't necessarily work out on the field, and he kind of had some personal problems off the field too. But I think while there's a lot of guys there, there's no one that really stands out other than Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is probably your, well, I guess we can say top 25, top 20 guy, if I dare even say that. But it's just not enough talent. And I feel like that's why we're putting our ranking kind of really at the bottom of the entire NFL. We said it was 28, and there's really, there's teams that have better talent than us. I feel like that's something that's going to grow. It really depends on the development of certain players, such as Nico Collins, Isaiah Collier, and Kiki Kuti. Those are guys that really have high starting potential, but just we have to keep looking. We have to see if we can get more talent on this roster.
All right, and for tight end rankings, this one's going to be pretty kind of hard to swallow, but I'd say our tight end group is 31st in the league. I think the only other team we're better than is the Saints. What do y'all think about our tight end room right now?
Yeah, I also agree with y'all. Our tight end room is probably like around 31, maybe even 32. I could see us being dead last, at least entering the season. We have guys like Jordan Akins. He's coming into his contract year. I believe he's 30 or on the plus side of 30. We drafted him pretty late in his career. I believe he took a year off or something like that. But he's coming into his contract year. I'm sure he's going to be hungry. He's going to want to get that second contract in the NFL. I believe he's going to come into training camp hungry. I do believe he's a tight end one, at least going to the season, week one. For tight end number two, I would see it being Farrell Brown. Um, as y'all were saying, he's a mixture of everything. He can pass. He's good in the passing game. He's good in the run blocking game. He can pretty much do it all. Like he's not really good at it. Like he's just decent. Like he's not. He doesn't excel at any one of those. He's just decent at all of them. For third tight end, I see it being Brevin Jordan, the rookie that we drafted out of Miami. I believe he was ranked by some people the number 2 tight end after Kyle Pitts. That's how high people were towards him. I do believe he has an immense amount of talent. I do believe he could be very special in this league. As Drew was saying, he can pretty much do it all. He can run over people. He's good in the passing game. He's a decent run blocker, or at least he has the willingness to run block. But yeah, and then Carly Waring. I do believe he ends up making the roster, or at least making the practice squad. But I do believe we keep him somehow on the Texans roster. I see he has talent, obviously, but I mean, I don't think he's ever really gonna reach into that talent. Like he has all the talent in the world. He's a very diverse athlete. He's just a very good athlete in general. In terms of football player, he may not be the best, but he's just a very good athlete. But yeah.
Yeah, I think Brevin Jordan can potentially be that guy for us in the future, that franchise tight end. But moving on to the O line rankings, I think this is the one of the higher positions on this team. I have our O line ranked 21st. I'd say we have a better O line than the Giants, the Panthers, the Dolphins, the Steelers, the Jets, Bears, Vikings, Raiders, Bengals, Falcons, Jaguars, and like a toss up with the Broncos and Seahawks. So what do y'all think about that?
I think it looks like a top 15 offensive line unit when you really look at it. And I'm going to tell you exactly why I think that. I mean, you have so many. This is why I mean by glorified starters, guys that have proved themselves and they haven't fallen off. Justin Britt I guess we could say, he was really a top 10 center in Seattle. Really solid run blocker, really solid pass blocker too. Never heard any concerns from him. Marcus Cannon, yeah, he's 33, but he's been so solid for his entire career. I don't expect anything wrong to go there. And I'll talk about what his position will be in a second. Then you got Laramie Tunsil, who is he's like the third. I saw an article from ESPN today about he's the third best tackle in the entire NFL, and that's exactly what you want to see as a top player at his position. And we have that in Laramie Tunsil. We have Titus Howard, who is for now the right tackle, but now we're going to talk about how maybe Marcus Cannon, who has played guard, who has played tackle, he may end up just sticking a tackle, which is what our offensive line coach James Campen said, that Marcus Cannon is a tackle. So what exactly does that mean? It could mean that Marcus Cannon is going to be the backup right tackle, and Titus Howard is going to be the starting right tackle, and Marcus Cannon just won't play. And it could mean that they're confident in other guys. They have Max Sharpen, who can play left guard. They have Charlie Heck. They have Carson Green. Lots of guys who can play that position, but I just feel like they're not really like they're at Tamarcus Cannon level. Lane Taylor, another guy who can play guard and tackle. Cole Toner, another guy who can kind of has that versatility. I feel like that's kind of exactly what we were doing. The whole part about this offensive line is they're solid, but there's also a lot of competition that's going to go on in this offseason. So while we need to figure things out, I still think it looks like a top 15 unit. But I need to see exactly how we play, and I need to see who we put at each position. Then we can really decide how good this offensive line is going to be. But I feel like there's a lot of people there, and you have top guys in Titus Howard and Tunsil.
And yeah, the reason why I didn't have our team super high is because we did let up 50 sacks the previous season. Obviously, we didn't make a lot of additions, just like not ready to make that big of a jump in my rankings as of now. But when the season starts, I can definitely see like us achieving that potential that y'all mentioned. And so moving on to the last positional group on offense is the running back ranking, and this one could be a little controversial. But for now, wise, I think our ranking would be in between 24 to 27. I'd say we have a better running back room than the Falcons, Dolphins, Jets, and the Lions. And you could argue like with the Cardinals, the Steelers, and the Washington football team. So what do y'all think about that?
Yeah, I really love our running back room. We have three starting caliber guys, and David Johnson, Mark Ingram, and Philip Lindsay. As Drew was saying, like we could switch them out in and out, pretty much for different games or different plays, different formations, whatever it is. All of these guys, they can play similar sets. Also, I know we're not going to talk about formations or any of that. But I mean, all of these guys, they could pretty much play any of them. That's the thing. Like you could put Philip Lindsay out there if you want to do a power run, or you could put David Johnson out there if you could want to run a power run. Like all these guys, they're interchangeable. You could play them at pretty much everything. But yeah, we also have Rex Burkhead. He's a very intriguing name, I guess, to say the least. I do believe he's like around 30, either on the plus side of 30 or about to hit 30. That's also not a bad guy to have. He could be that fourth running back, to be that relieving back, like late in the fourth quarter, or if a guy is hurt or something like that. But the depth in the running back room is just crazy. We also have Scotty Phillips. I don't really believe we'll see the field too much, if any. But we have just a bunch of guys. David Johnson, he's probably gonna be that third running back, maybe even second running back before Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram's probably gonna be more so that heavy hitter, like more on the goal line or on third and short, second short, something like that. But Philip Lindsay, he's gonna be that main guy, I believe. He's gonna be that feature back. He's gonna start most of the plays. He's probably gonna start maybe like 45% of the snaps, while the other two or other three get like maybe 15, 20 around there. But yeah, running back room is gonna be very exciting and intriguing this season. We have a bunch of guys who are just gonna go in there and produce. I could see all of these guys at least having maybe around 750 yards. I wouldn't be surprised if all three of them get it. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Philip Lindsay. This running back room, yeah, to describe it, it's like a Swiss Army knife. They all bring certain talents to the team, and I think ceiling wise, they definitely achieve like a top 10 running back room. But for right now, I'm just gonna underrate them a little, but I'm definitely high on them like internally. I just try to be as unbiased as possible with with the rankings that I've personally said. With Watson, we'd be an average offensive rank of 21. If you just average all the numbers that I said. And without Watson, we'd be about 27, 26. And so I found that surprising when like sat down and averaged it out. But that's what it was for offensive wise. So let's quickly go ahead to defense. Our D line ranking is, I think it's kind of pretty close to last. I have it as 31. You can have a toss up between the Falcons and the Jaguars. But what do y'all think about our D line right now?
I feel like the D line has a lot of question marks in certain positions. We don't exactly know where each person is going to play. I feel like the only guy you really know that's going to play much is Charles Omenihu. We know the Texans have loved him for quite a few years now. And with J.J. Watt gone, he kind of can ascend to the role that they want him to play and put him in a position they feel comfortable with. Because I know J.J. moved around the line quite often during the game, playing multiple positions. And now this defensive line is going to be running a 4-3, so it's going to be four of them starting. So it's, four positions they got to fill out. So right now, there's a lot of players who can play defensive end. You got Jonathan Grenard, Jordan Jenkins, Shaq Lawson, Charles Omenihu, and Jacob Martin. And there's a lot of guys you can really go with there. And personally, I would go with Jordan Jenkins and Shaq Lawson. At this point, I'm kind of with a rotation of Omenihu, Martin, and Grenard. But like those are the starters at this point. Those are the guys that have proved the most. They've been starters on their teams. They've had nine plus sack seasons. Jordan Jenkins has been really, really effective. He just played for the Jets, so I guess nobody really took note of that. It was a really under the radar signing based on his production. So I feel like that's kind of the underrated part about this defensive line is in no ways talking about who we really have. And it's very similar to the running back room in the point where you have depth, you have guys that are possible studs in Jacob Martin and Jonathan Grenard and Charles Omenu. But then I also feel like Charles Omenu can play in the interior defensive line. I feel like him and Ross Blacklock can all kind of play a three tech, where you're really just pass rushing on the guards that are in front of you. You're not necessarily getting double teamed, but I feel like pass rush wise, those guys are really going to play well. I know it's a position that Ross Blacklock played at TCU. He was really comfortable, and that's why he got drafted where he was drafted. I feel like after this season, you'll understand why we wanted Ross Blacklock. I feel like he's going to be so much more comfortable. And then you have the one tech, you can move. You have Malik Collins and Brandon Dunn. You also got Azuya Alufohe, who is kind of more of a beast. He's a run stuffer, gets in there. And I feel like the last guy you have to talk about is Roy Lopez, because who doesn't love Roy Lopez at this point? And I feel like he's a guy who's gonna come onto the scene. You're gonna play him either at the one or three tech at this point. He's a really brutal run stuffer. He's got a nasty pass rush where he has like power moves. Has a little bit of rip move where he can get in there on the center and guard. And his film is amazing. He just got to adjust to NFL play, but he has all the traits that you want. I know he had some trouble in Arizona, but his New Mexico State film, I really loved watching it. I really enjoyed that. And kind of the other guys that we have that I don't really see playing much, and it breaks my heart a little bit to say it, but Whitney Merciless, I do not think you're going to get any playing time. Derek Rivers is a guy from the Patriots who kind of had potential, but the Patriots can kind of let go of him. We got him. You got Vincent Taylor, formerly played for the Browns. He's a interior defensive lineman. And we also have DeMarcus Walker, who Broncos fans were very high on. He played outside linebacker in a 3-4, but he's going to be transitioning to a 4-3, which is much better because he's 280 pounds. So it must have been a little hard for him to play outside backer there in Denver because a little bit on the heavy side. But he's going to show that power, and I feel like it's just going to be a rotational D line, and we're going to work with that, and hopefully we can find out who our starters will be, and the best man will play.
I agree with everything you said. And secondary wise, I'm gonna put our team secondary at 26. I think our secondary is better than the Falcons, the Raiders, the Jets, the Jaguars. Eagles have good safeties, but really bad corners, and the Titans. And I'd say we toss it with the Seahawks. So what do y'all think about that?
Yeah, the secondary is very interesting. I do believe we're a little bit higher than that based on the players that we have currently. I believe we're more so like around 21, maybe 20. Just the different players that we have, like the names. We have very good names. We have Bradley Roby. We have Vernon Hargreaves. I mean, he's not the best, but I mean, if he's like a second string, a third string slot corner, I mean, that's a very good guy to have. We have Shaq. I mean, not Shaq. We have Keon Crossan. He's a very good, I guess, like a backup cornerback number 3 or something like that. We have um, we got Terrence Mitchell from the Cleveland Browns. He's a more so of a physical corner. He's more so probably gonna be covering at times maybe the wide receiver 1 just due to his physicality. I know that Bradley Roby's a better general corner than Terrence Mitchell, but just due to his size, I believe Mitchell can lock down a couple of guys up just due to his size. He's gonna be very physical with guys at the line. He's gonna be really very, very handsy. And like, you know how DeAndre Hopkins likes to play with his hands, like at the line? Like, he's going to be pushing the cornerback off. That's similar to what Mitchell's going to be doing at the line. He's going to be pushing the wide receiver off, at least for a couple of seconds, breaking off the route. We have guys like Desmond King, who I believe is really going to excel in this defense. I believe he's going to be more so playing slot more than any other position. I know that he can play safety and that he can play cornerback number 1, but I just see him playing more of his natural position, which is slot cornerback for us. We have a lot of other guys too. For the cornerback room, we have Tremon Smith. He's more so of a depth piece. I don't really think he sees the field too much. But going more to safety now, we have Eric Murray. I mean, a lot of fans aren't really high on him, or they don't really like him, and I mean, for a very good reason. He's overpaid, and he just straight up really isn't too good. I mean, I like the guy, like the person Eric Murray, but as a player, he's just not too good of a football player. I mean, sure, we didn't really do him a good thing about playing him at slot corner last year when he's more so of a safety. But I mean, still, he's just not that good of a football player. But for our starting safeties, I believe it's going to be Lonnie Johnson and Justin Reed. Lonnie Johnson, I believe he just turned 25 today or yesterday. Oh no, that was his wedding. My bad. But Lonnie Johnson, he's a very project type of safety. He's not really going to be like a very good starting safety day 1. I mean, he's going to eventually translate into a good safety, but as of right now, he's more so of a project. Then we have Justin Reed, who's coming into his contract year. I do believe he has a very good season. I believe it turns into his rookie form again. These past 2 years, he hasn't been the best. I mean, he's had a solid season, but comparing it to his rookie season, it was really no match. His rookie season was just very, very, very good for a rookie safety. And to be selected in the third round, he played phenomenal. And I do believe Justin Reed turns on to that rookie form. We have guys like AJ Moore, who's more so for depth, and Terrence Brooks, who's more so probably gonna be like a special teams guy. And we also have John Reed, who's we drafted last year. I believe it was in the fourth round, fifth round. I don't really see how he sees the field too much this year, but I mean, he's a very good project slot corner. But yeah,
And now for our linebacker rankings, I'd say our linebacker rankings are one of the best positions on our team. I'd say our linebacker ranking would be between 12 and 14. With the toss up with the Bills, I think we're a little worse than the Steelers, the Falcons, Bears, Vikings, Patriots, 49ers. We're worse than these teams: 49ers, Seahawks, Buccaneers, Broncos, and the Cowboys. So what do you think about that?
I absolutely love our linebacker unit. There's so many guys on this roster that have been proven starters. You got Christian Kirksey, you got Neville Hewitt, you got Kevin Pierre-Louis, Joe Thomas, and then you got very exciting guys such as Zach Cunningham, Camus Gruger-Hill, Garrett Wallow, guys who are kind of athletic freaks, especially the ones like Wallow and Camus Gruger-Hill, who actually, funny thing about him, he played a little kicker for the Cowboys at a point. That kind of shows off his athleticism a bit. And now, of course, the Texans are playing in a 4-3, so they're going to have three starting coverage linebackers, if you will, if that's what you want to call them. So with the addition of Neville Hewitt, who we kind of got a little bit after we signed everybody, I originally thought our starting line was just going to be Kirksey, Pierre-Louis, and Cunningham. But Neville Hewitt really shows a lot of potential there. I feel like it's really a toss-up between him and Christian Kirksey. And that just shows you how much confidence all these players need to have when they go into training camp because they need to fight for their position. So at the mic, I could see us playing Neville Hewitt or Christian Kirksey, and that could go either way. At the Sam, you could play Kevin Pierre-Louis, possibly Joe Thomas, Camus Gruger-Hill, and I feel like the will should 100% be Zach Cunningham. He has the ability to coverage, can cover the seams like you need to do in cover two. He's a really great all-around player, one of the best linebackers in the NFL. He just does not get talked about enough. And then you have all the other guys such as Hardy Nickerson and Joe Thomas who are more than special teams guys. And look out for Garrett Wallow too. Come in those coverage situations, maybe take out Pierre-Louis for a little bit, go in there and cover. Garrett Wallow can also play a little safety too. So that's very exciting. I feel like this linebacker unit could eventually be a top 10 unit because you just don't simply see that many linebacker units with as much depth as the Texans do at this point. There's so much competition that's going to happen. And I feel like it's going to be very underrated, similar to how I feel about our running back unit and defensive line. I'm just really excited. I can't wait to watch them play.
Yeah, and if you were to average the rankings that I said about our defense, you'd get about 23. So if you were to average the offensive rank that I said and the defensive rank that I said with Watson, you get average overall rank of 22 and without 24. So I found that pretty surprising. So this ranking doesn't have us dead last roster wise. Obviously with coaches and schemes and everything, like some teams are going to be higher than others. That's completely fine. But it's just kind of interesting to see that we might not, we're not as bad as you might think we are. But yeah, I think this gave us a whole new perspective of about our team going into the season. Well, let me know y'all's thoughts in the comment section below. How like where would y'all rank our team right now? And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.